Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gold Standard. We got myself, we got Mr. Brad Thomas, and we're going to have Mr. Eytan Shander. Right now, I see a big black box, not the airplane variety, but the same thing where they're unavailable. And what we have is voice. So I guess he could be caller number one or something we could put on the screen, but I'm
Hey,
ready to
first
rock.
time, long time, guys. Been listening to the show for a while. What are your thoughts on the Tampa Bay Bucks this week? Now that they had to relocate to New Orleans, I'll hang up and listen.
It's a good start. It's a good start. Honestly, probably the best show that I've ever done with Eytan Shander here so far. But Brad, how you doing, my dude?
Dude, I'm doing good. I think I'm finally not depressed with the
Oh,
Alabama loss this weekend.
oh my God.
You want to know what's actually gross about it? I was in Gainesville watching the UCF and Florida game. Every time I've gone to Gainesville, Alabama has lost that football game. Every time.
Oh, it's on you. So you're
It's
the
on
mush.
me. And
You're
I'm
the
not
mush.
even remotely superstitious, but the last time was what was the last time? We lost to Tennessee 2 years ago, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm never coming back," because we had lost to Auburn 2 years before that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like 4 losses in 4 trips.
Dude, that's not even real life. Also, it's not even real life that Vanderbilt actually has football players on their team.
I know. Transfer
They didn't
portal's
look
good,
that
right?
bad
Like
to me. Like
like
they
Diego
look
playing on that
competitive.
team is a beast. He's a beast.
Yeah. I was shocked going back and watching it because I didn't watch it live, but went back and watched some of it and could not possibly believe, oh, look who it is. If it isn't Eytan Shander himself, a little bit of a roof flex. Is that the old Tesla action, or what do we got going here? What are we doing?
Tesla.
What is
I'm
that?
not. I don't
It just
have
has
like
like a
Tesla
big
tech.
window up top. I can't tell what
It's
that is.
just a typical moonroof, sunroof
Typical.
visor that would close. That's all. I don't think it's anything revolutionary here. It's not like Elon Musk or any anti-Musk tech. I'm like 3 or 4 years behind on my tech. I'm not like, what is like the latest thing? What's like something a Tesla can do that no other car can do besides drive and park itself? Like, is there a piece of tech in there? Can you talk to an astronaut in a Tesla that you can't do in any other car?
Oh no, but Cybertrucks are the dumbest looking things I've ever seen, so I don't really know what to tell you. I'm not a big Cybertruck fan.
Brad, have you seen these? The
Hold on.
Cybertrucks?
Yeah, I seen the Cybertrucks. They're all over downtown.
Yeah, I don't know how they are so popular too, because it's like getting the first, right? Like 5,
Yeah.
6 years from now, we'll probably all be driving them. But like the first one, they just look so, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure like you didn't have one before I started tearing into them, and then it would just be Lindy who looked like a jerk.
Nope. I'm pretty positive that all three of us here are not going to have Cybertrucks in the near future, but I will say to my guy Brad out there, be very, very safe. Florida is getting scary, my guy.
Oh my god, yeah.
What's the plan down there for you guys?
We'll probably just leave, go to my parents' house or something. I don't know. Haven't
they
really decided. Think we're
far?
just gonna wait and see. The problem with the hurricane, right, is like you need a definite path, or you're just like, what did I just do? So we'll figure it out.
If you need to come to LA, let me know. We got a spot for you.
I think all flights stop tomorrow too out of Orlando. So
So it's just get in and get out
yeah,
now, right? Wow.
yeah.
That is, yeah, man. What is the time frame for this? Because we just saw this, right? Like the Bucks just left and they're going to spend the week in New Orleans. So how long would you even stay or plan to stay at your parents, assuming that they're not in the pathway, right?
Just a day or two.
Okay.
Hurricanes come through pretty fast. They're normally slow over water and fast over land. So like if it's slow, like impacting the coast, it can be slow, but once it gets over land, it starts to speed up.
Got it. Now I saw here on our Discord channel, Slack, if you will, whatever the hell it is, the messaging, that Brad went 2-1 on Thursday, and then Eric responded, "Not me," with an
Nope.
exclamation. I can't make fun of you because I had to pick my kid up who bit somebody at like
Jesus.
pre-K, whatever the hell that you call this thing. So I would love to rip
Another
you,
normal day.
but I can't. No. A normal
Yeah.
day in my household.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to get bit.
I technically went 0-3 because Lindor was attached to something that also lost. So there is that.
Oh.
But yeah, it ended up being a a pretty brutal Thursday for me. Outside of Thursday night football, I kind of salvaged some stuff there. You and I had some decent stuff for football over
We
the
did.
weekend
We
together,
did.
which was awfully fun going back and forth with you. But overall, ended up being slightly profitable for me on the weekend. But Thursday, not the greatest day. MLB playoffs off to a good start though. Jammed that over 7.5 Dodgers and Padres spot. Probably going to be running it back here now that we've got game 3 coming up here tomorrow. I started handicapping it a little bit this morning and got distracted with all the Monday Night Football value that showed up here because I think in Kareem Hunt, I'm on pretty much every prop for him. It's now shot through the moon, 6-7 yards up in the rushing department and everything else. But yeah, I'm ready to dive in.
Man, I can't wait. Yeah, we'll talk a lot about Monday Night Football. I know, like clearly here, where I am, and I would imagine it would be the same, right? Like for LA, I'm sure it's buzzing. Probably not as much with it being at least the stereotype of how transplanty it can be. But I never bought into that shit, right? Like I don't care where you are. You could be from Idaho. If you're living in a city that is experiencing postseason anything, how difficult is that? Like, are you going to sit at home like, I'm not from LA, I'm not going to enjoy the Dodgers run? Like, no, you'd be an asshole. Like, just stay home in that case. So I think there's something to it though. And like playoff baseball has taken over where I am. And some of that I think is just the bye week of the Eagles. But man, like I'm sure you guys were locked in. Game 2, they're calling it an instant classic if you love the prisoner of the moment stuff. But my God, Mets Phillies just inject it, every little ounce of it. I want it.
How about the Ohtani home run to tie it up? 3-0. I'm at a wedding on Saturday, and it is in San Diego. I'm in the wedding in San Diego with all Dodgers fans, and you could hear one side of the hotel completely freak out on the Padres side, and then our side would freak out every time something would happen on the Dodger side, and it was just chaos. It was an absolute chaotic situation. Excited to run that back. I'm thinking about driving down to the game tomorrow. And I think I might. I think I might have to go.
That'd be lit.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be so ruckus, and just to be in the building for it. I mean, I love playoff baseball. Didn't go to game 2 yesterday because tickets were they got a little bit egregious once they go up 1-0. Such fair weather fans. It's like game 1 was super cheap, but couldn't go on Saturday. And then yesterday with the NFL going on and everything, I was like, oh my God, tickets, they're going to be cheap. No, it was like $250 in the door basically for anything of use. So yeah, we'll take a look at tomorrow. I might have to drive down.
Yeah, I think at this point, I have to wait for the NLCS. Can't see how this thing is back right now. Best of 5, right? So you've got, man, it's like that was the one for me. I just watching all of these videos, and I don't know if they do this for other games. I imagine they do, right? Because MLB, I think, is the one who posted it. But there are clips. I'll try and find the link. There are clips of just crowd noise. Like that's all you hear. There's no play-by-play. There's no idiot yelling in the background who's filming it. It's just the natural stadium sound of Citizens Bank Park for Bryce Harper's home run, for Castellanos' jack, and then for Stott's triple. And then, of course, you have the Casti walk-off. So my point is, like, we should try and find that for Ohtani, too, because these are just incredible, right? Like, it's the purity of baseball that comes out like that. Football is just constantly crazy. It's just constant, right? Basketball, indoor, everything indoor. But there's something about that raw sound in baseball. And I was watching it on the Phillies end, but when you brought up the Ohtani thing, I'm thinking like, man, that place and that just raw, natural sound must be insane.
Yeah, it was actually my little nephew that kind of brought up something because he's gotten big time into baseball. He's 10. He's back in South Dakota, but like he fell in love with baseball over this summer. And so he always asks me questions about stuff, and he's like wondering about stats. And for the first time, like understanding, batting average, what counts for it, what counts against it, and whatever else. And we were talking about the playoffs on the phone as my mom was driving him around somewhere in South Dakota. And he basically just goes, I like baseball because you go literally from 0 to 100. And I started thinking about it, and it's like, yeah, you go from there being stillness, nothing going on, to a ball flying 100 miles per hour at a bat, and it either comes off 107 miles per hour off of that bat, or something happens to mute it. And so it's just like energy transfer. It's literally energy. And when the playoffs come, I'm like, that's the coolest way that I've ever had anybody describe anything. But and that's the kind of stuff kids say that it's just like you can't come up with that on your own. Like kids just have a way of putting the perfect stuff together to describe what you're witnessing. It's a 0 to 100 sport in the playoffs.
It is, man. And it is something that so many people just check out across the season because it's 162. It's tough. And then
Mhm.
it's like everybody comes back. It's different, right? Like NHL postseason is a completely different animal. We all pay attention to the NFL in a unique way. College now has been expanded, right? The NBA playoffs with the at least widening of this league. So it's great because it does stand alone, like you said. All right, here we go. We got 3 plays, man. You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
Right.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Brad, you've been quiet. So you've been working or you've been prepping for like the next 3 shows that you have?
No,
Because you don't have a baseball team down there that's either doing anything of note or in the actual city in which you currently are in.
I was actually looking up. I know we were going to talk about the game tonight, and I was looking this up because I wanted to see what I wanted to do with this. Listen, the Chiefs have just let all of these tight ends get big plays, big yardage on them. Isaiah Likely, Kyle Pitts, the list goes on, and I'm like, so how do I make money off this? Is it Juwan Johnson day? Is it Foster Moreau
Yep.
day?
Right.
The Saints don't target their tight ends. After week 1, where the tight ends had like 10 targets, they literally had next game 2 targets, next game 3 targets, next game 3 targets. That's all the tight ends combined. But I did find value in possibly taking just sprinkling each Foster Moreau touchdown at like plus 600 and Juwan Johnson touchdown about plus 450. Obviously, these are a long shot to come in, but the prices are pretty good given how bad the Chiefs are against the tight end position. And it's like crazy because I look at like the correlation to the wide receivers too. Like wide receivers aren't going off against the Chiefs. The only players who are like crushing their player prop lines have been the tight ends. That's what I was doing. I was just seeing if there was any way I can make money off it.
Is this
I'm
going to
with
be
you.
an official play?
I haven't got there yet. Obviously, I have to use the OddsShopper
Well,
tool
it's
to shop the
your
prices.
turn. Is my point here.
No, I have an official play now. Yeah. I just want to let you know what I was doing because anybody who's watching, I feel like there's a chance for us to make some money, right? Like I just given some
love
extra
it.
I
tidbits.
got
We'll get there.
I
We'll
already
get to the
said
tight end
yes.
position. I'm on
Trust me, we
Jawan
will
Johnson.
get
That's
there.
my first place, so I'm here with you.
Absolutely.
I went with,
And I'm going to audible one too for my lotto tonight. So yes.
I went with the college football prop. Ohio State at Oregon, and I'm taking Emeka Egbuka over 65.5 receiving yards. First and foremost, he's hit this in every game, right? Well, obviously the one where they won by 50 at halftime, he didn't play the whole game. He didn't hit that, but every Power 4, Power 5 game that he's played so far this season. What's really nice is he's also the target monster, leading in the targets. I thought like after the quick resurgence of Mr. Jeremiah Smith, he would lose target share, but no, they're still making a concerted effort to give him the ball and get him the ball often. Against Oregon, Oregon's ranked in the top 10 in success rate per drop back. Basically, they're top 10 and you getting a ton of yards on first down or a ton of yards on second down. But they also aren't that good at running the ball. And I know when you think about like, it's not always so cut and dry, right? Like, sure, Ohio State will have success running the ball against Oregon, but Oregon's coaching staff is going to prepare and plan to stop the rushing attack of Ohio State. It's good. Chip Kelly's known for really good rushing attacks. That's something they're going to prepare to do, which I think is going to leave a lot of opportunities for Egbuka. I played an angle similar to this earlier in the season, and it cashed by halftime. So I'm hoping I have some success with this same kind of angle where it's a poor rushing attack, but they're going against a team who's going to run the ball a ton, but you're going to actually go to the high volume wide receiver because he's going to be kind of like the forgotten man in the prop market.
Yeah, man.
Got it right now.
I just wish I was, and I did this actually this weekend. It doubled up with a trip to the beach, but I am just taking a trip over state lines now and slamming college football player props because I haven't been able to bet them in PA since it became legal. And I haven't, and I didn't, I messed around a little bit. OddsShopper's got them, of course, tailing you on this show, of course. And it's like, wait a second, these are incredibly soft, and way more than I think you will find in most. Look, you're going to find them in soft and smaller part of the NFL markets, but it feels like you can find softer lines in college football player props, even in bigger games, which is rare in the NFL. This is no, it's great, man. It makes a lot of sense. FanDuel's got boosts out there. You can bump this up. Yeah, man. Great play for me. All right, Eric.
Well,
Are you going to lead
I'm just
off with
attaching
Juwan
a
Johnson?
Buka to DeAndre Swift, 48.5 rushing yards against Jacksonville on Sunday over in London. So I'm doing that over on Underdog right now. I'm finding it pretty easy actually. There's a number of plays that I like over there as I'm running stuff. But anywho,
Underdog.
I should probably talk about the bet I have today, and that is Juwan Johnson, 19.5 receiving yards. Everything that you just got done being hearing from BLT is true. Kansas City against tight ends confirmed a thing. Now, Kubiak does not like throwing tight ends out there to run routes. I don't know what the deal is, but this becomes kind of a necessity. You don't have Taysom Hill, so thank God. Alvin Kamara, his outlook for this game looks a lot better from a fantasy perspective. We all know that, but I think the other thing is Taysom Hill, he's still been out on the field, just lingering around at times around the goal line and such. Juwan Johnson, that's definitely something that I know Eytan sent over to me as well, looking at some touchdown props on him. So we are on that for the +500 over on FanDuel. And then Juwan Johnson, -120 on Fliff. This is the best available spot for right now. Fliff, baby. Available in pretty much every single state, 47 of the 50 in the US of A, including California A. So Juwan Johnson, that is where I played it. Come join me.
Lil Fliff. Remember that song? Lil Flip? Game
No,
over. Flip.
Yeah.
I know Philadelphia. How about that?
I don't know why I think of that. But yeah, great call on Fliff, by the way. It is super. We always see that as
the lines just sit there forever, and they just
Forever on Flip.
they stay there forever, and it's wild too because OddsShopper, we've had it linked up for a while, and for me, just being able to snipe some of those from time to time, where it'll be 20 minutes that news will happen, especially in the NBA. If you don't have Fliff for the NBA, you are actually doing it wrong.
Wow, I gotta get on Fliff.
Yes.
All right. First up for me here, we'll pound through these things. I know we talked a lot of baseball to open this thing up. So for me, I'm going to go Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown. I understand you still have the rookie in the mix here. This is primetime October for Kansas City, and they're at home on top of that, right? What's the public thing? Oh, they're going to kill him. They're going to, no. This is sleepwalk city here for the Chiefs. That's why the line is at 5.5, one of the ugliest numbers you could look at as far as the spread is concerned. So I'm not messing around with anything along those lines. I want the guy who's going to have the majority, I would believe, of touches, and he doesn't have a fumble problem like Carson does, or at least beginning to have one. And I get it. Like, they don't have a ton. They're a little thin there with Pacheco out. I'll get to my other play as far as the game flow, and I think it just correlates to what I'm looking at here, which is you're going to use Kareem Hunt both on the ground and in the passing game. This is not just drop back and score 40, 50 points against the Saints. It's probably going to be a gut one out under type game. And Hunt and another guy, I think, on Kansas City are going to see a lot of action. So I think between running and passing, Hunt's going to get in there. I'll take him at the anytime.
Dude, I was like, man, I'm going to tell him that I'm going to be on an opposite play of this because I keep messing
Are you on
messing up the names Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara. I was just listening and I was like, I'm actually going to be on Alvin Kamara's rushing under. And I was like, I just thought it was funny. I was like, just hearing it, I'm like, man, I'm going to tell him I'm fading the crap out of him today.
Kamara, though, you're not fading Hunt.
No, I'm not fading Hunt. I like everything Hunt.
Same.
I like all Hunt things.
That's hilarious, man.
So
all good, brother. All right. So we got our first three up there. Looks pretty good so far.
My next one, I'm going with Xavier Worthy, longest reception over 19.5 yards. This one was another one that I went a little deep in the well to find. I thought this was pretty interesting. The Saints allow the second most air yards per target at 9.19, and they've allowed 12 receptions of 20 or more yards. There's really only two guys on this team who are going to kind of take those long reception options, and that's Justin Watson, who has a combined 8 targets so far this season, and then Xavier Worthy, who has an average depth of target of at least like 14.5. Actually, I have the exact number. It's 12.2, but an average reception number of 17.1 which means he's getting a lot of these big catches, big opportunities. He has 9 receptions with 154 yards. Do the math, pretty nice there, like I said. So I'm just taking a shot on this with given how the Saints are allowing big chunk plays and Worthy being the chunk man.
Look, he's going to do something tonight, right? Going to have a big catch, probably
You
going to
would
score a
think.
touchdown.
I mean,
It's
it's
just gonna
weird.
shoot, yeah.
He hasn't had over 4 targets in a single game all year. He is your typical burner, and he's just better at burning than most. He's going to be Deshaun Jackson light. Like, that's going to be how Kansas City utilizes him. He is the Deshaun Jackson guy in this offense, and Justin Watson just runs straight. Like, he can't run a route. So
Right,
at least there's that. I think we're going to see Xavier Worthy. And plus, Andy Reid is kind of slow with rookies out of the gate. He's been struck into a bigger role than what we saw even. Like, think about Rashee Rice. He was like at 10, 20, 30% of the snaps for the first month, 2 months of last season until they really let him loose after week 12. But I look at Xavier Worthy as a guy where, if you're going to get targets for him, they're going to be down the field. They're going to be slants across the middle. We are seeing B and C gaps getting filled here by wide receivers more and more over the course of 2024 with the cover 2, with the 2 high safeties. And I just think Xavier Worthy is one of those take the top off. If he gets 3-4 targets, one of them is going to be more than 15, 20 yards downfield. So I love this play. I love that.
So real quick, I mean, this is like the new in thing, right? Which is probably something you shouldn't be doing anyway, right? That's why it's so popular. Just
Texting
like
and
anything in our
driving?
society. Well, yeah, texting and driving, like as much processed food as you can eat, like all the shit that's just not right. We just consume. This is one of those under 3.5 worthy receptions combined with over 42.5 receiving yards. What do you think that is?
Well, it's
Same game
negatively
parlay.
correlated. You better get a boost on that.
What do you think it is? Just take a random. You don't have to be right.
Well,
all right, both you guys.
Isn't his receiving prop 2.5? Is it 3.5 now?
It's 3.5 receptions.
All right, so we like less on that.
We like less than that, and then the burner, right? Turner the burner, 42.5 over for X.
Plus 550.
490.
Okay, I was close. It's pretty good.
Which is not terrible. I mean, look, I understand you would like over 5-1 on this, but 2 catches could easily put you over this. This is probably not going to hit, and it's probably going to bust, right, rather quickly. But I was just curious to see how that played out. I'm not going to bet it unless Eric tells me to.
It's a little bit thin. I've got him under 3.5 receptions 62% of the time here, so that's a pretty big favorite. That's probably the one that I like. And then I have his over 42.5 at, God, of course I say that as soon as it's just going to keep spinning. I've got him going under that 47% of the time.
Okay.
So 53% to the over on it. But the thing is, I love the reception play because it takes one. And again, it's where is he getting targeted in the field? You pull up NFL Next Gen, we can just see his route tree. It is slants across the middle of the field last time I looked.
Sucks that you can't run the longest reception in this same game parlay, because I would definitely go over longest reception.
I don't think you can same game parlay longest reception.
You can't, because that would be the play. Brad's play with the under receptions, right? Like that would be the fucking money spot.
Well, hang on.
Right,
let me see if Underdog has it. It's got to be.
Go ahead. Well, you got to give a play. All right, I'll give a play while you look.
No, mine's super easy. I like Sal Perez to hit a homer. I like Juan Soto to hit a homer. I'm on the over of this game if you guys want to join on that, but it's moved and gotten juiced a little bit to the point where you probably don't want to. Sal Perez is plus 350. Plus 430 for Juan Soto, left on left against Reagans. He only strikes him out around 20% of the time. Not that Soto strikes out whatsoever. But the one thing that always has to be taken into consideration is that a lefty is going to face only good lefties during the course of the regular season. So lefty pitchers are going to face good lefty bats, because in the platoon, you're getting all the garbage righties. There's more righties that exist in baseball. But when they keep left-handed bats in the lineup, they're generally good lefty bats. Cole Reagans has still been pretty good against them to a certain extent, but the wind's blowing slightly out and towards the pole. We know how short it can play in Yankee Stadium. 12-degree launch angle, 11.5-degree launch angle, for Cole Reagans against lefties here on the season. So decent enough launch. And we're talking about Juan Soto, who, when he makes contact with lefties, still has no issues whatsoever. This shouldn't be as high as plus 430. it's simply a play on the price here. Got it closer to plus 360. And then Sal Perez, he should be around plus 300. He is plus 350. So while these, once again, are not your most likely things to hit, because that's how home runs work, there is value in the numbers here. I like both of them.
Sounds good. We bet them both. Love Soto. We'll see what's going on with Perez at this point.
You get better than plus 400 for Juan Soto in Yankee Stadium. You just blindly bet it usually.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think that's just a great on that for good match. And it's not just like, come on, that one. By all means. That same game parlay.
What do you? Let me ask you this, because I don't bet home runs.
Nearly 20.
Well, I do sometimes. But I'm super aggressive better, right? Like I'll go ahead and say that. Like when I'm betting something that's plus odds, I'm not putting 0.1 unit on it. What do you normally put unit size wise on home runs?
So it depends. I think everything. Eytan, we can't hear you at all, buddy. We can't hear you. It's cutting out. Can't hear you, bud. But anyway, usually it's going to be around a quarter unit. There's lots of ways that you can break down how you should go about betting these, and sometimes it will fluctuate based on bankroll size, based on a number of other factors. But for the most part, I found it clean and easy to keep it at a quarter unit. So 0.25 units on almost everything across the board, simply because I think over the course of an entire MLB season, there's going to be times that you run into, all of these different prop bets. I mean, I probably have made over 6,000 prop bets over the course of an entire MLB season when it's all said and done. And you don't want to get yourself in a habit of like half unit. Oh, I really like this one. I'm going to put a full unit on it. I'm going to do like it would be very, very rare for me to get up to half unit on specific home runs for these. Because again, you're looking at like, if you just break it down at plus 400, like kind of the going rate for a good home run play, like a likely home run play, and you just break it down by 4 quarters there, it doesn't mean that you're going to be breaking even on it, but it does break even in terms of like your money back in your portfolio at the end of it, even though, because every event is its own outcome. And so if something's plus 400, and you bet it 4 times and you get one of them, yes, you are breaking even technically, but then the likelihood of it, I like to think I'm up over the course of that. So if I make, 20 home run bets, that's going to be 5 units allocated towards it. I think mentally it's a lot easier to track. It's easier for me to kind of keep sense of. And then when there are fluctuations or a home run play that I like more, or there's something that's more likely for it, like a Ohtani home run that's plus 250 that should be, plus 200 or something, you're going to maybe up the units ever so slightly and pull the trigger there. But it is rare for me to do so.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. All right. Let me round out here. I know we're gonna make this thing happen. Our final stretch. Tell you about what's going on here. BetMGM 2. I told you 2 guys that I'm looking at. Again, I'm on the under. I'm trying to correlate game script here and how this thing plays out tonight. They don't have Isaiah Pacheco. This is a Pacheco game for me if he were healthy. So if you don't have him, hey, we talked about Kareem Hunt getting some touches, especially at the anytime. This is a buy low spot that we're getting Travis Kelce 6 receptions at plus money. The reality is you look at what's happened, 2 eggs clearly that have been laid. This is not, he doesn't have a touchdown, what have you, just comes off what would be life, signs of life, a pulse, if you will, against the Chargers in their most recent game. And we're not talking about an anytime. We're not talking about receiving yards. I'm just looking at the fact that he's going to be heavily targeted in this type of game. And Mahomes is probably going to throw a lot, but not a lot deep, right? Maybe you get the worthy here or there, but a lot of this is just going to be middle, slow, move the clock, get out, kind of run type throws. And I think Kelce benefits with 6+ grabs at plus money.
9 targets last game. I actually took him earlier in the week, receiving yards, on actually the GoldBoys YouTube channel. So make sure if you are following along, you press the subscribe and ring the bell to let you know when my video comes out. I am glad to get I think I'm at 6 yards of CLV right now, 7 yards, which is really nice. I love this a lot. What was the price on that?
I can tell you now, I believe it was plus 106.
Nice. Yeah. He's going to be a target monster.
106. Again, just the fact that we're getting
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
We
let's
can
send
go
it over to
ahead.
the BetMGM, shall we? Let's fire it up. BLT, here you go.
Well-known sports betting discords around the world.
Why?
We'll show you
Why?
how easy it is to get a free month at GoldBoys.com and sign up at BetMGM just for using code GoldBoys. Sign up at BetMGM, use code GoldBoys, deposit at least $10 and get your first bet back up to $1,500. Once you play through, you'll get an email from BetMGM with your code to use for that free month at GoldBoys.com. Some exclusions may apply. 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Again, sign up at BetMGM using code GoldBoys, deposit at least $10. Your first bet's back up to $1,500. You'll get
Great time to be alive. We got one more pick to fire up.
Are you gonna
Brad,
go through
why
this
don't you
fast?
take over here? And then, yeah, I'll put mine in. And Eytan, looks like he's clear. Looks like he's back with us. This is good. This is good.
You got to speed through them,
This
man.
is-
You know, Brad's got a hard out.
This is probably the sicko thing that I bet, but I have to take it. Chris Olave and Xavier Worthy, 50+ yards each. Olave has hit this over in every game but one, the game where he had like 2 targets for 11 yards. And then I already talked about Xavier Worthy here. I don't think either team's going to find a ton of success on the ground, right? Like these are 2 teams that are pretty decent at stopping the run. The Chiefs' second best run defense in the entire NFL there. It's also like the explosive runs. Neither teams allow a ton of explosive runs, which means you're going to be throwing the ball a lot more than you probably want to. That just 2 guys versus the target monster on the team for the Saints. I like his over 62 or whatever and a half. Just the price looks nice for me for both of them to get it. Like I said, like this is probably a sicko bet, but I'm all for it.
Not a sicko bet
I got
at
no
all.
issue.
I think that's pretty decent there. Obviously,
I
the
like
Worthy
it.
one is the
3-1.
Yep. Worthy's the sketch one, right? Like,
Yep. And Olave, I mean, that's much lower on his number, but I mean, we're talking 3-1. Think about it this way. You get paid plus 200 on a pick'em site, and you'd be putting 42.5 combined with 58.5. You find the middle of it there, getting paid a whole buck more to be able to go to plus 300 just by adding 7.5 yards to Worthy is so unbelievably worth it. Because when you talk about his bell curve, he's going to have 120 and 110 on the right range. And on the left range, I mean, yeah, you're going to have some zeros, you're going to have some tens, but like,
yep.
I got to think that his median outcome is going to be so much closer to a mean outcome relative to like a regular wide receiver.
Yep. Agreed.
I love that.
Yep. All right, brother. What do you got?
Mine's super easy. Thursday night football. 3. I want to host like a math convention one day where we talk about 2.5 and 3, where we talk about why it is that you want to be jumping on some of these numbers. Seattle plus 3 minus 102. Why is this so unbelievably valuable? Because I could potentially be playing 2.5 vig free here if things break a certain way here. The San Francisco 49ers, another game where they had over a 90% win probability in a fourth quarter and found ways to lose. They've ran 25% of their plays in the fourth quarter with a win probability of over 90% this season, and they have lost 2 of those games, which is just absolutely insane to say out loud so far. But we've got Seattle plus 3 minus 102 right now. I think the public sentiment is going to move this potentially to 2.5 here on San Francisco. And I will probably smash the San Francisco 2.5 side as well, because what happens when you get the Seattle plus 3 number at minus 102 and you're playing very, very little vig on it is that you might run into the 2.5 at like minus 104, where that Seattle cover is a push on the Seattle plus 3 side and you're hitting it on the San Francisco side. So it is unbelievably valuable. It's the most valuable key number in all of football, period. It always has been, always will be. This is nothing that I invented. This is no concept that I'm introducing. It's something that I've just had profitable bettors preach to me over and over and over and over again. If you get the 3 on the team at home and you think the number is going to swing to 2.5, you jam it. So I absolutely jam Seattle plus 3 minus 102.
No objection
Somebody
for
just
me on that
posted,
one.
Yep.
just got an alert on the OS Tails marketplace about Juju Schuster over a half anytime TD. I won't tell you who posted it, but yeah,
listen,
man. I mean, sign me up. By the way,
so as we're talking,
I love Seattle.
this is what I'm thinking about. Like, you know, people sometimes like, yo, Brad, what do you think about during a show? I'm thinking about what happened in the last games these guys have played, you know, and I was thinking about this. I was thinking about a time where I'm sitting, hanging out with my wife, we're watching football, right? She's got Rashee Rice on her fantasy team. It's her first year playing fantasy. So I'm like rooting Rashee Rice on. But before the game, we knew we were gonna be watching the game together. I took Rashee Rice 2+ touchdowns. It was like plus 800 or something crazy. I also took him to score a touchdown, which was plus 800, which was nice. Scores a touchdown, getting crazy volume right now. Gets injured. They drive to the red zone within 2 plays. The route that would have been Rashee Rice, guess who catches that touchdown?
Juju
Smith-Schuster. He's plus 550 to score a touchdown today. That's worth a quarter unit.
There you go. You got a bonus play. I won't even take time giving you mine because we talked about this guy at length, both Eric and Brad, at Eric Lindquist, at Mr. Brad Thomas, at shanderbets for me. Thanks again to Straight on the way out. It's a 70-1 lotto ticket. It's Juwan Johnson. The fact that he is just lurking in the end zone. He is a red zone target. He is an end zone target. If you are going to take him to score an anytime touchdown in this particular game, in this particular matchup, I think you have to look at 70-1 and put even if that's a 10th of a unit, a 15th of a unit, a 5th, whatever it may be of a unit, whatever it is you're drinking, an 1/8 of a unit if you're smoking it, whatever it is, just put it on there at 70-1 and watch JJ do work. He's going to score 1 tonight, so you might as well have that sweat.
I mean, can we get him to the Taysom Hill role for 1 game and 1 game only?
Let's go. Thank you. Dude, if this guy throws for a touchdown and catches a touchdown, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to fucking lose it.
I would throw a touchdown. Juwan Johnson is not throwing a touchdown.
That's my point, is if they ran some like crazy shit where he came in as like an H-back and a Philly special, they could run the same special. All right. If that happens, that's why you go to Lindquist for prize picks, because you can actually bet that and not get burned.
If Juwan Johnson throws for a touchdown, I probably will stop betting. I will stop. If he throws and doesn't catch one, if he throws and catches one, whatever, I'll just call it a fluke. But since I'm on Juwan Johnson touchdown as well, I will throw up everywhere.
What would you do if he scored 1 legit and then
Amon-Ra St. Brown,
you had 2 touchdowns like I do at 70-1, and his second touchdown was a throw? You wouldn't quit betting, but would you take like a month off?
I'd take at least the weekend.
So my buddy had Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown, and he went back and posted the fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown had not attempted a pass in college or the NFL ever, and he threw for a touchdown to Jared Goff.
It's almost like it's scripted. This shit. I kid you not. All right, fellas, good stuff. We'll see everybody on Thursday. Recap how we did. Have a great one.